it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. This reading vlog I'm so excited about because every single book I plan to read over the course of this week I feel like could be a 5 out of 5 star read for me. But before we dive into the TBR itself, first a word from this video sponsor, which is HelloFresh. Hi friends, let's cook dinner together. As I just mentioned, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. Let's set you down. Chat about all the reasons why I am such a fan of this service. So if you're not familiar, HelloFresh is America's leading meal kit delivery service, and they send everything organized by recipe directly to your door. It truthfully could not be easier to build into your routine. I've personally used HelloFresh for years and it was an absolute game changer. I hate grocery shopping. So HelloFresh sending everything you need for whatever recipe you pick directly to your door cuts out the need for grocery shopping. I mean, honestly, I could not be happier about that. Not to mention, it's a more sustainable and a great substitute for meal delivery as well. Personally speaking, my favorite aspect of HelloFresh is how many recipes they have to choose from. And I feel like for me, especially when I was more of a beginner home cook, HelloFresh helped me learn how to cook. I feel like my recipe repertoire really increased, and with their step-by-step instructions, I feel like I learned so many different skill sets. Honestly, such an approachable way to make meals for yourself, which I think is incredible. I didn't really grow up doing a lot of cooking, so HelloFresh was a great introductory way for me to really get organized in the kitchen. Today, I'm especially excited about the recipe I'm making. I'm making one of my favorites, which is a creamy, dreamy mushroom cavatappi pasta. But before I get to cooking, I do of course have an offer code. You can get 22 free meals plus free shipping by using my code PerusProject22, as well as clicking the link down below. But let's get cooking, friends. One is obviously getting all my ingredients organized. Again, everything comes super nicely packaged within the bag itself. The only prep work I needed to do for this super delicious recipe was chop up this green onion, as the mushrooms came pre-sliced, which we love to see. Here's all my ingredients ready to go, just looking over the recipe. From there, I cook my mushrooms in some olive oil, season those up, and also start cooking my pasta. Once the mushrooms are nice and browned, I make my cream sauce, which is butter, the green onions, flour, and I also use some of the pasta water as well as milk. Once that gets a little bit thick, I add cream cheese, season it, and just add my pasta, mushrooms, and this delicious herb butter, and honestly it's done. Top with green onions and cheese and delicious. Just like that, dinner is done. I'm quite literally about to sit down and devour all of this. Who doesn't love pasta? Again, if you want to check out HelloFresh and get 22 free meals plus free shipping, be sure to click the link in my description as well as use my code. Again, big shout out to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Okay, so as I said, I'm really pumped about the TBR for this video, and that is because I am basically in the middle of a lot of books I'm loving, and instead of being logical and focusing on finishing the books I've already started and that I'm liking, I'm gonna add another book to the mix, and I'm just gonna be reading like 3 or 4 books throughout the course of this entire video because I kind of feel like I'm on a roll and everything is so good. So I'm like, why not invite more to the party? You know, the more the merrier. But let's chat about the books. Alrighty, so I probably have about 1,000 pages here, but the first book I am currently reading is Spans of Morning by Brandon Sanderson. This is actually a book I'm listening to via audio, and I've been really enjoying it whilst puzzling. This is the 3rd book to the Mistborn era 2, and I was planning on reading like one of these a month, and I ended up reading, I don't know, one last month, one this month, and I'm on my 3rd book of it of the month. I just can't stop reading them. The plot, just everything about it has been so entertaining, and the audiobooks are truly impeccable. The next book that is on my TBR is Nemesis Games. I am 2/3 of the way through this book. This is book 5 to the Expanse series, and somehow this series quite literally gets better and better with every installment. This book is just bananas. The plot stakes, the character stakes, everything about it has absolutely hooked me. I cannot stop reading it. I read basically all of this in about 2 days, being on an airplane for the most of that. My hope is to finish this book over the course of this vlog. I want to say I have about 200 pages left, so I feel like that should not be hard at all. Again, because quite literally every time I pick this book up, I read it for hours on end. It is so good. It is so good. So good. And then lastly, but definitely not least, I want to start Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo and just read as much of this as possible. Another book I've just been dying to read, anticipating the release of for what feels like years, the sequel to the very beloved Ninth House. dark academia, occult, murder mystery, following our main character Alex, who is at Yale University. So good. And I just feel like all of these books are going to be 5 out of 5 stars for different reasons. All of them are going to just be unputdownable. And I also think they're all going to destroy my life in very different ways, which just feels like the trifecta of an experience. If you're wondering what the other books I might read are, I do have some manga I need to read before my loan of them expires from the library. So I might also read some more Spy X Family or something along those lines. But yeah, here's my little stack of books. I'm really excited about everything here. I actually think right now I'm going to listen to some of my audiobook and work on my puzzle, as I haven't puzzled in a few days, and that feels like a good relaxing way to spend some time. I think I'm gonna maybe try to finish the Expanse series before starting Hellbent, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have the willpower to do so. But time will tell. Time will definitely tell. There we are. Welcome to the start of the vlog. I am very excited. 'Tis coffee time, everyone. A nice late afternoon coffee moment, which we love to see. Before I get to puzzling, as you can see I'm prepping to do, let's set the stage about where I am in Bands of Mourning. I'm about a third of the way through chapter 7, which I want to say is maybe like 20% of the way through this book. The audiobook is spectacular. I feel like I'm talking about the audiobook like ad nauseum at this point. But if I also recall correctly, the third book is my favorite, so I'm looking forward to experiencing it again, because I'm just truthfully very addicted. And I'm also addicted to this puzzle, which is so cute. Let me show you. Look at this. Look at all these plants. Adorable. I'll try to link it down below. I got it on the internet. So anyway, time to get started. Time to listen, time to do some puzzling, enjoy my cup of coffee, the works. Updated puzzle progress. I worked on this section today. And then I actually went for a walk because it is 75 degrees outside of Texas right now, which is a little freaky for January, but undeniably beautiful. Which also resulted in me listening to 50 pages of Bands of Mourning. I read 3 chapters. It's so good. And it's just getting better and better. Like the action of book 3 is like immediately. So now I'm gonna start dinner here soon. It's about 5. I actually think I'm gonna read a bit more. I'm going to switch over to Nemesis games. I'm not kidding when I'm literally saying I'm addicted to all the books I'm currently reading, and so I feel like I have like joint custody. I'm like trying to equally split time between all of these books. So I think I'm gonna make some tea and read some more. There's Millie in the background because she's ready for dinner because it is also her dinner time. So that is the plan. 50 pages down for this vlog. We're gonna keep the momentum going. These are the 2 teas I picked up recently. I think I'm gonna do this one, and look at this little heart tea steeper. Cute, right? Tea is steeping. Book is here and cozy fireplace is on. Also, Matilda has joined me with her bowl in the process of doing what I do best, which is making a soup. Tonight's soup is a chicken wild rice, like creamy soup. So I have everything in a pot. I'm just waiting to bring it to a boil. It's just gonna cook for like 45 minutes. I add the final things. I'm also making this like sage garlic butter, which sounds delicious to top it with. I'm excited. Dinner is served. It looks delicious, and I have so much of it. And the great thing about our rice-based soup is this is just gonna turn into like a nice, it's gonna have very little liquid left in the leftovers, which is just delicious in its own unique way, you know? Going to catch up on some of my Bravo shows with Matilda. Clay also went and picked me up some chocolate. And my Switch. Hi friends, so I am settled into bed. We're about to do a bit of a reading session. I'm actually about to start Hellbent right now. These books are so heavy to pick up. But before I jump into an entirely new book, I do want to talk a bit about Nemesis Games by James S.A. Corey. So this is book 5 to the Expanse series, which is just getting better and better with every installment, which is incredibly impressive. I talk about this series so much, so I'm going to keep it sort of brief and specific to this 5th installment, but this is a space opera series. It's an action first series, lots of different perspectives, lots of different characters. Every book sort of introduces us to new characters. Sometimes we don't see them ever again. Sometimes they're brought back. But with every installment, James S.A. Corey is kind of building out this world and all these different connections. And I feel like with this 5th book, he's really cashing in on a lot of those connections. It's the first installment where we kind of have our core group of characters split off into a lot of different directions, and it is creating not only fantastic plot, but wild tension, and also to see how the characters interact individually, I think is great for their solo character development. I feel like this is one of the first installments where each character feels, I hate to use the word likable, but I like a lot of the characters in this book, but some characters like James Holden, for example, can feel a little like straightforward, but I think this one, everyone finally feels, at least to me, like a very likable character, and you'd be like, wow, 5th book in, shouldn't you already like the characters? Yes, and I have in the past, but the shining glory of this series is the plot. Like, every book is fascinating, intense, full of twists and turns, but for different reasons. It's not like we have one thing and he raises the ante in like the same direction. Like, each book is kind of going in a different direction, but still expanding on that sci-fi plot. This one, oh my gosh. Like, you see how everything has kind of come together to get us to this point in book 5. And we're also kind of seeing some characters we haven't seen in a minute, which is also great. And I think just the consequences and the stakes and the table itself has kind of been thrown overboard, let's say, in this 5th book, creating just one of the most action-packed installments I've read in a long time. Like, this is really hard to put down. And it's not just that it has like plot, but with no substance. It really has it all with this one. This is by far, I feel like, the best one in the series in terms of really having everything. And it's also the first one that I feel like we are only following the crew and we don't have like extraneous storylines that don't have immediate connection to the crew itself, which I think is an interesting choice. But it's working because the series has been paced really well. Yeah, I mean, my goodness. I just feel like this is going to be I have to catch up on the Expanse series this year. It's just too good. But yeah, really loving this. I did read like a good 40 or 50 pages of that before I made dinner. But now I'm going to start Hellbent because I do want to get underway with this book. My hope is to get maybe like 100 pages read before I inevitably fall asleep. Reading at night is always tricky because I just immediately get sleepy. It doesn't even matter what time it is. When the sun's down, I get tired. So we're going to do some reading now. But tomorrow's gonna be a big reading day. My hope is, we'll just see how far I can get in all these books. My hope is I can get far in all of them. I'm doing a little bit of catch up here. So anyway, good night. Good morning. Matilda is loving and laxing on this stool as she should. I made a fruit bowl and I owe y'all a reading update. So I am super happy to report that I have read 120 pages of Hellbent in the few hours that I've been reading this book. Happy to say, just like the other 2 books I'm reading for this vlog, it reads so fast, so entertaining, and just really drops you right back into this world. If you're not familiar, this series by Leigh Bardugo is very, very dark. And I would also caution to say, there are a lot of trigger warnings, so please look into those before diving into this series. But this is like a dark academia, occult, thriller-esque story. We follow our main character, Alex, who's basically given a second chance at life in a hospital room. And she's basically hired by this prestigious and sketchy organization to go to Yale, attend Yale as a student, and also be a part of this oversight committee, which looks into all of the different secret societies on campus and their use of magic. Here's the deal, Yale, for one reason or another, is close to a lot of like centers of power, and a lot of these really old secret societies have connections to that use of power. Some of them are legitimate, some of them are not, but it's up to her and the organization that she's now involved with to make sure that they don't like go too over the top with their use. That being said, it's still full of rich, privileged, and spoiled individuals, so obviously there's going to be a lot of overuse, if you will. At the beginning of book 1, though, things kind of begin to spiral out of control when murders begin to happen on campus. Structurally, how I would describe this series is there's definitely overarching stuff between books, but it almost also reads like, I don't want to say like mystery of the week, but there was definitely a central mystery in book one that we investigated with our main character Alex and her friends on campus, and then ultimately solved. Again, there was consequences to everything that happened into book one, which kind of leads us into what is going on in book two. But the heart of this novel is our main character Alex. She herself has some abilities that has to do with the undead and how that ties into this sort of powerful nature of these secret societies, which definitely are using powers that perhaps humans shouldn't be touching with. Think like the underworld and the like. What I really enjoy about the series, for one, is just like the pompous nature of the setting, this hyper academic, dark magic sort of connection. It's just fascinating, and the vibe that Leigh Bardugo is able to create on campus just works so well. Like, you're fascinated by it, but you also hate everyone involved too. Like, the ceremonies are so disturbing and so wrong, but you also can't stop reading, you know what I mean? Going into book two, there are quite a few mysteries at play, and I think how Leigh Bardugo also writes mysteries is what makes these books so compelling. There's puzzles on puzzles, and again, a lot of this is tied to the underworld. There's lots of like academic-based clues and library investigations, but also like real world and current reality danger. So like, you on the one hand are like, oh, I'm curious about how this mystery or this puzzle is going to be solved, but also it's impacting people in real life, which I think is what Leigh Bardugo is like trying to toy with, criticizing this sort of dark academia, puzzle solving first approach, but also pointing out that like, this is not a game. It has real life consequences, and people in real life, most likely those without a lot of power, are actually getting hurt. Book one was explosive. We have a lot going into book two, and I'm just curious to see how it's going to unfold. It's addicting because, again, there is a puzzle very much at the heart of this book, but it's also a very disturbing puzzle, and I'm really interested to see how Alex is going to solve it. One thing, Alex is our main character. We saw a lot of character growth in the last book, seeing her make connections and friends, so her having some type of network to rely on and also work with in book two is really, really nice to see. Obviously, though, there's a lot of things about Alex's past that are incredibly traumatic, and those things are still kind of creeping up and existing in book two as well, and also inform a lot for her character and how she like acts in different situations. But so far, this book is definitely providing the thrilling, messed up, occult, academia-esque setting I was hoping for, and I'm just really curious to see how it's going to continue to unfold, because the first one just kept building and building and building. Sorry, I'm waving this fork around. And I have a feeling book two is going to as well, because I read the first 120 pages so fast, and that was all just set up anyway. So that's where we're at. I've read a lot so far for this vlog. I want to say like 250 pages in the past 24 hours. So we're going to keep that momentum going. I want to read everything right now. So cheers. Lunch is served. Hi friends, it's time for some coffee. Also some Hershey Kisses. And I'm gonna listen to my audiobook and do some puzzling. Help. I listened to like 3 hours of that audiobook. I'm almost done with this dang puzzle. Look at it. Look at it. Sometimes when I like listen to too much audio and I'm too focused, I feel like I like come back to the surface and I'm like disassociating a little bit. But we're here where it's happening. I just started part 3 of Bands of Mourning. I only have about 5 hours left of this book, and I think I just checked my page number. I'm on page 250, or like over 250. So buzzing through this audiobook very, very quickly. And honestly, it's very easy to get addicted to a puzzle and an audiobook when the audiobook itself is just so good. Definitely the best of the Wax and Wayne series so far. Hard to talk about without spoiling, but just take it from me. The characters are so likable, and I just find myself laughing out loud so often, particularly anytime Wayne opens his mouth. I just feel like the humor, the back and forth, the interesting and intricate plot, and you slowly begin to see this picture that Brandon Sanderson is building through all of the books and how it's culminating in this installment and obviously going into the next book. I'm trying to stop puzzling, but like I physically cannot stop. Just the last book, which I put a hold in at the library. So hopefully that hold comes in soon, and I will probably be finishing up this entire quartet before you even know it. But I'm gonna take a break from this puzzle. I think I'm very easily gonna finish this puzzle tomorrow. I don't have much left at all. Like, I'm not even sure what I did today, but I pretty much did so much of it today. I did like this section. But anyway, this puzzle is really cute, really coming together. Love to see it, you know what I mean? Soup round 2, isn't that right, Millie? This looks even better the next day. Started the show, The Traitor, and I'm so addicted. It's like multiverse Bravo celebrities and a murder mystery story. Too good. Hello friends, I'm in bed. I have a face mask on and I'm about to read some more Hellbent. Again, I'm 120 pages of the way through, hoping to read another decent chunk this evening and then obviously do a bunch more reading tomorrow morning and throughout the day. I did get addicted to that reality TV show, which was a bit of a curveball, an unexpected development. Oh, Matilda's coming. Oh, she wants to go into the covers. But I am getting back on track with my reading. I feel like I've still read quite a bit. Truthfully, almost 300 pages. So I'm going to take that as a win, but I'm going to stay focused and on track and do some more reading right now. Good morning, world. Let's have some coffee. Cheers, everyone. So great news. I was able to read to page like 200 of Hellbent last night. The book is great, and again, because there's this like central mystery and puzzles kind of at the heart of it, it propels you right through it. Not to mention, the book is written in a, I don't want to say disjointed, but we're kind of jumping all over the place in regards to timeline. There's like a current present day timeline, which has a lot of urgency behind it because we're trying to solve, again, this mystery in a very condensed fashion. We're also jumping back in time a bit to give us some context for some things that happened to Alec before even the start of this semester, just creating a lot of tension and just really hard to put down. So anyway, it's morning, obviously. I'm going to sit and read more now before work, and then I do have to get ready and get started on the day. Unfortunately, I want to spend all day reading, but alas. I also will definitely be finishing my puzzle today, which, love it. Love to see it. Hello, it's so sunny, which I'm not complaining about. But I wanted to show you my outfit. I have this like swan sweater zip up thing. Got it on a great sale, actually. And then I'm just wearing jeans of a variety of things I need to do today. But before I did them, I wanted to do a reading update. So I'm walking back over to the library space because I read another 50 pages. There's Clay. And this morning, and before I get anything else done, I want to do a reading update because I have officially read, what page am I on? I'm officially on page 230 of this book, and I am really liking it. I briefly mentioned like the pacing and everything, all of that stands, and it just has like great fall ambiance. Obviously I'm reading it in January, but this would make a spectacular fall read. One, the back to school season, there's like so much fall college semester vibes intermixed with all of the terrible stuff that's going on. There's like Halloween, there's all this references to the occult and hell, hence the name Hellbent. And I think all of these things together are just creating such a fascinating atmosphere, and I'm fascinated. Also, I will say, like, personally, I'm not very well versed in, let's just say, like, religious iconography. Because this book is obviously referencing hell, there is some of that, and I feel like Lee Bardugo does a good job explaining it for me personally anyway, because again, I don't know much. I don't know a lot about religion. But anywho, I'm gonna read more this afternoon, but I'm gonna eat lunch, get some more work done first. I'm also going to finish my puzzle. That's a priority item for today as well, especially because I've recently acquired some new puzzles, so like I gotta keep the ball rolling, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'm just pleased because I feel like I am making really great progress with this book, really great progress with the other books I'm also reading for this video. 3 books at once, kind of a lot to juggle, but we're doing our best. We're finishing this puzzle. Why are my bangs like this? Ignore that. I have chocolate chip cookies, I have coffee. This puzzle is getting completed right now. looky there. The puzzle is officially complete, and I listened to like 4 more chapters of my audiobook, so feeling very productive, very excited. It is officially evening time, and I'm actually gonna start making dinner for myself, which if you saw the sponsored portion of this video, that's what this is, but in the front. And I'm excited. It's one of my favorite recipes, so I'll show you the end result when I'm relaxing and eating it in the living room, but I'm physically going to do the cooking for it now. Does this give you time travel vibes? Just finished making this. It truly looks incredible. Matilda thinks so too. And I'm gonna sit down, eat this, and watch some Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Hello, I'm in bed with a face mask. I completely lost track of time because I was watching that reality TV show called Traitors, but it's officially time to get serious about reading. As I've mentioned, I'm on page 230. I really want to read a good chunk right here, right now. I'm gonna put a faux fireplace on, get down to business. I really want to finish Hellbent tomorrow. That is my goal. And I think I can be successful in completing that goal. Plus, I'm almost done with Bands of Mourning. And I'm also almost done with Nemesis games. Like, I need to wrap some of these reads up, and I think I'm going to be able to. So, eye on the prize. It's reading time. Good morning, friends. We have some fruit. We have some coffee. I'm deciding between reading Nemesis games or Hellbent, which I am almost done with officially. Hi friends, I owe you a reading update because I have about 70 pages left of Hellbent. If there's one thing I can say about this book, it reads really, really quickly. Also, it's interesting about the structure, and I think it's because I think this series was originally supposed to be like 8-9 books. You get the feeling that it very could easily be like a serialized mystery of the week, urban fantasy-esque story, Alex Stern, our main character, solving some type of demonic issue with every single book. And that vibe very much exists in this series, which I personally like. We now know it's going to be a trilogy, so I'm curious to see how the whole thing is going to be wrapped up. But the puzzle-centered nature of this book is very much there. And I also think it provides for some whodunit-esque elements to the story, too. I'm almost done. I would say, like, a large chunk of the mystery has been resolved / revealed to us. And I almost, like, it's so interesting because I didn't guess it, but I also feel dumb for not guessing it, if that makes sense. Like, I was reading some reviews and people were like, oh, it was obvious, but it was entertaining. I did not guess it, but it is entertaining. So take that with what you will. I just do think, like, all of the sort of academic references and these sort of old secret society situation is just a really cool concept Leigh Bardugo is building on really well. In this book too, we also have just more characters introduced to the party, or the relationships are developed further, which I really like. I think seeing Alex Stern work as a team with people and seeing her like try to trust or try to extend herself and get close to people, which obviously is something due to a lot of the trauma she's experienced, is very difficult for her. I also think it just adds a more dynamic nature to the dialogue and just other types of dynamics that are happening within this book. I have not very much left, so we're gonna see how the entire thing ends. I have a feeling I'm gonna have an unbearable cliffhanger at the end of this, and I don't even know how long I'm gonna have to wait until the next installment, but I'm finishing this book this morning. I think I just want to go get changed and kind of get my day sort of started, but there's no way I can go about functioning today without reading these last 70 pages, and once I do, dang, I think I'll have read quite a bit, like almost 800 pages this week. And then I think I'm gonna start a new puzzle, pivot back to my audiobook, and also maybe read some of Nemesis games this late afternoon. But I have a lot of stuff I need to do. I woke up early on purpose to get reading in, so we're gonna focus on finishing this. We'll wrap that up, and then I'll spend the rest of the day just reading whatever. Great news, everyone. I finished Hellbent, so I can now finally carry on with the rest of my day. Ramen for lunch, a tasty Friday treat. Hi friends, I feel like I have thought enough about my final thoughts and feelings on Hellbent to sort of wrap this book up. I liked it. I wouldn't say this was like a 5 out of 5 star read for me, but it was definitely like a 4 out of 5 star. I felt it to be very compulsive, very addicting. It didn't like blow my mind as much as the first one, but I'm excited to see where the series is going to kind of wrap up with. I think the concept, the characters, the setting are just really smart and effective, especially for kind of the direction that Leigh Bardugo is trying to go for. A strong second installment. I don't have any major complaints. I just wouldn't say with the amount of like hype I went into this book that it was like as mind-boggling, as earth-shattering as I hoped it would be. That being said, for the remainder of this vlog, I am going to try to just listen to as much bands of mourning as possible whilst I do like emails. I have a lot of like, not busy work, but like I don't have meetings or anything like that. Like everything is very, not mindless, I can't think of the real term, but I can definitely multitask. Like that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to listen to hopefully a couple more hours of this, and then I will let you know my page count. I think I'll have listened to about 200 pages of this by the end of this vlog. Easy. It's so good and it's so entertaining, and I can't wait to read The Lost Metal soon, but that is where I'm at. I've read a lot this vlog, which I'm really pleased with, even though I was kind of multitasking, perhaps too many books. I don't normally read this many books at once, but this time around, I feel like because all of them were good, I wanted to read every book as fast as possible so I could go back to the other one, if that made sense. But anyway, I gotta get to my computer now. So I'm gonna get my audiobook going and we're gonna get down to business. And welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I wanted to quickly pop in and chat about all I was able to read over the course of this vlog, because it was actually quite a bit. First and foremost, obviously, I listened to a lot of bands of mourning, which ended up accounting to about 200 pages of this book. I'm so close to finishing it, and I will definitely be finishing it within the next couple of days. On and on. Listen to the audiobooks of this if you haven't. If you're looking to reread it because The Lost Metal just came out, check out the audio experience. There's also apparently like an even more intense audio experience if you're interested in that, but I have been having a blast with this. I also read 150 pages of the Nemesis games, which I also plan to finish probably today. Book 5, just incredible. I feel like every book in this series just keeps getting better and better, which I don't even understand how that is possible. I can't wait to pick up book 6 soon. So that is 350 pages. And then I also read the entirety of Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, which puts me over the 800 page mark over the course of this week. Another very highly anticipated release, and one that I really enjoyed from beginning to end. Compulsive and absolute page turner. Obviously, I've chatted about this book quite a bit throughout the course of this vlog. With all 3 of these books, I've got to say, this was a very successful reading vlog in terms of like quality. I had a blast reading all of these for different reasons. Just look how chunky this thumbnail looks. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, big shout out to this video sponsor, which is HelloFresh. I will have a link to their site as well as my offer code down below. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video soon. Goodbye.